and welcome back for day 4 of the World of Wool Advent Calendar Spin Along. I am Jess, and if you're new here, I am spinning yarn every day using the World of Wool Advent Calendar. Every day I'm going to get a little bit of fiber with a classic Christmas character theme that I am then going to spin into yarn, and I have been knitting these little Advent Calendar socks to go with them. And next year, maybe I'll fill them with treats for the 2025 Advent Calendar. Yesterday, our yarn was Cindy Lou, and I just love how this yarn came out. It's got this kind of heathery look, so it's like a classic red heather, but the heather is gold. And like I said yesterday, this whole thing is throughout got the trilobal nylon, the rainbow effect in it. So the whole thing's just really fun. Up close, you can see a lot of that rainbow come through. Just to recap, those yarns that I had in 5 different colors were for a sock project, a colorwork sock project that I wanted to do years ago. I had caked them up years ago thinking that I was going to make these colorwork socks, but back then I did not know how to do two-handed colorwork yet. I found the yarn management to be impossible. I gave up on them very quickly. So they have been in these cakes for years. And if you as a knitter or a crocheter has ever heard someone say that you shouldn't cake your yarn until you're about to do the project you want it for, this is essentially why. So natural fiber yarns, especially wools, they have crimp memory in them. Think of them as like your hair. A person with really curly hair can straighten their hair, but the second it gets wet, it's gonna bounce back into those curls, right? And it's not because your hair is alive, your hair is dead cells on your head, but it has that curl memory. It's all about the structure of the scales in your hair and in the wool. So what happens if you cake up the yarn too early, especially if you did like I did before I knew that you shouldn't cake so tightly? If you cake really tightly, what happens is that hair, it's essentially getting pulled straight inside the cake. So the yarn is getting pulled in a way that's getting rid of its loft. It's making it seem thinner, maybe a little drapier than it is for real. That's why I said the yarn was dead, because I had taken all the loft out of it. But because it's a natural fiber with that crimp memory in there, as soon as you get it into some hot water and you loosen it up, so I re-skeined it so it was in a nice big loop, and then put it in hot water so it can relax, all that loft came back. So now that yarn is a lot more lofty, a little bit thicker. It's matching the yarn that I'm spinning much more, which is why I did that, even though it took a long time. So I love the way that it came out. It just makes the colors balance a little bit more. It makes it feel, it just makes them feel more equal. So I'm really glad I did that, even though it took some time. I really love the classic look, that kind of red heather with the white. It's so nostalgic Christmas. So today is day 4, December 4th. Let's see what our character is for today. Day's 4 blend is called Cinnamon Bear, which is a character I have never heard of. And our mix here is Manx Lactan, Merino, UK Alpaca, and Mulberry Silk. And her bag looks like this. Now, I don't know anything about this character, so I don't know if they have any particular clothing or colorful items that they wear. For me, Cinnamon Bear is going to be tan, right? He's going to be kind of the color of cinnamon in my mind. And there's a lot of, I'm thinking the Manx Lactan is probably natural colored. I'm thinking the alpaca is probably natural colored. So if we see any color in here, it's probably from the merino or the mulberry silk. So I'm thinking this is going to be all brown, or maybe cinnamon wear. I'm thinking this is going to be all brown, or maybe the cinnamon bear has like an iconic blue scarf that he wears, and we'll see a little bit of color from that. Interesting. So we are certainly getting some natural browns, like I thought we would, but we're also seeing a lot of red, green, and white, these kind of traditional Christmas colors. So let's read what World of Wool has to say about Cinnamon Bear. Let's find out who he is. So day 4, Cinnamon Bear. We've got 37.5% Manx Lochtan, which I'm hoping I'm saying correctly, 37.5% Merino, 12.5% UK Alpaca, and 12.5% Mulberry Silk. Now, we're not sure if anyone will actually remember the first airing of Cinnamon Bear, as it was a radio show which was broadcast from the 26th of November and 26th of December in 1937. The radio show ran over 26 episodes and followed twins Judy and Jimmy, who went on an adventure with the Cinnamon Bear to find the silver star that was missing from the top of their Christmas tree. It's a wholesome musical series which has been aired regularly since its first released. There was even an audiobook made in 2021. Maybe this is more of a British thing, because I don't think I have ever heard of this program. When creating this blend, we started with the basics. We knew Cinnamon Bear was brown, so we blended Manx Lochtan with Alpaca to give us a solid base. We also added some Merino cinnamon to lift the shade, because you can't have Cinnamon Bear without it. The green ribbon around the bear's neck is represented by a streak of merino emerald. This blend isn't super soft, as bears don't tend to be, but it balances natural and dyed tones well. Manx Lochtan is often overlooked when it comes to blends, but we love the color and texture it brings every time we use it. I think one of my favorite blends from last year also had the Manx Lochtan in it, so I have become a fan because of this calendar. And I have officially learned about someone I didn't even know what program they were from. For a blend that they're saying is not super soft, it's still definitely next to skin soft, and it has so much loft and bounce. It's going to make a really lovely yarn. I have been spinning on a manual wheel, and I know I said this year that I would spin on a manual wheel, but unfortunately my manual wheel, the Ashford Joy, just does not spin fast enough. It doesn't rotate quickly enough for me to spin the type of yarn that I want to spin this year, that really fine sock yarn. So I'm going to pull out an old favorite. I'm going to pull out the Eel Wheel 6, and I'm going to see if I can't use that to spin just a little bit closer to the sock yarn that I'm trying to make. I think that's just so much closer to what I'm going for with these sock yarns. It's got a single with a little higher twist, so we end up with this kind of rounder 3-ply structure, and it's much easier to achieve. It's much easier to achieve that finer single with an electric wheel for me. I think as spinners, we all slowly learn the things that we need in our spindles or our wheels. And for me, my first wheel after learning how to spin on a drop spindle was an Eel Wheel Nano. So I have kind of been trained on electric wheels, even though I love to spin. My first manual wheel was a Castle style, and I love a double treadle. I love a manual wheel. But for the super, super fine yarns, I don't know, an electric wheel just does it for me. And I've also learned over the years that I am an extremely light take-up type of spinner. So if anyone has suggestions of really high whirl wheels with extremely light take-up that they might suggest for me to try, I'm not really in the market for a new manual wheel right now, but I do want to make sure that the next one I get aligns with my spinning style. So I'm going to finish this up, and I will be back when I have the finished Cinnamon Bear yarn. I have here the finished day 4 yarn for Cinnamon Bear. I cannot believe how much this yarn grew after washing. My spin style is always a combo draft. That's kind of my natural spin style. But I thought I had spun this so thin. Again, I thought it was going to be a lace weight, and then it washed up to I mean almost sport. So I guess what I'm learning is that I cannot spin too fine. I just can't do it. I can keep trying, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm gonna pair this really kind of natural cinnamony brown colored yarn with all those green and red accents in there with the green contrast yarn. I think that's gonna work really nicely. And I think the green is gonna be what's used least in the final socks, so it's good that it's getting a spot right here, and I'll use it whenever I can. I think the blue and the green are probably going to be the hardest to place, but there's the finished yarn. I'm going to go knit up a stocking. I cannot believe how fluffy and squishy it is, but I think I felt the same way about Manx Lockton last year, and that's why I loved it so much. So I will be back tomorrow with day 5. I'm really excited for day 5. I'm gonna try something new using what's right behind me. So if you're ready for a surprise, join me tomorrow for day 5 of the Advent Spin Along, and I will see you there. Bye.